So today we've got to talk about Tottenham Hotspur. They might be the funniest and banterous club maybe in English football as a whole. They're known for having some absolute ballers in their past. They're also known for building and buying great players that then go on to move on to bigger things and actually maybe win some trophies. But Tottenham Hotspur, the history of Tottenham Hotspur has always been bottle jobs. Their last trophy was 15 years ago in the Carling Cup against Chelsea. And before that, you're going back to the 90s. So 2 trophies in over 30 years is not good enough for a Big Six club. But since 2000, Tottenham have only won 1 trophy, and that coincides with the devil. Yes, Mr. Daniel Levy. We're going to talk about him a bit later. But first, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and comment down below your thoughts on Tottenham Hotspur. What problems do you think they have? Because I'm going to go through them in this video. Now, Tottenham always used to be a relatively big club, but they were usually a mid-table Premier League team up until 2014, when Mauricio Pochettino was poached from Southampton, and he brought with him a renewed sense of optimism to the club. His high pressing and attacking style of play quickly won over the fans, and Pochettino's emphasis on bringing through young players and also his ability to get the best out of mediocre players set the foundation for their successful period. Under Pochettino's guidance, Tottenham Hotspur made a massive transition. Poch made some shrewd signings like Eric Dyer, Heung-min Son and Dele Alli, who was probably one of the best players in the world under this time, and all 3 became integral parts of the team. Pochettino's trust in the young players also paid off, with Harry Kane being the prime example. He went from failed loans at Millwall, Norwich and Leicester just 2 seasons before he came into form. And the season before Pochettino came in, he was playing under 21s Premier League football. But that first season Pochettino came in, Harry Kane scored 31 goals and got 6 assists in 49 games. And he also made his England debut at that time, with players like Kyle Walker and Jan Vertonghen in the defence, with midfield maestros like Paulinho, Moussa Dembele and Christian Eriksen, and a striker of Harry Kane. What went so wrong? This Tottenham Hotspur team finished in the top 4 for every single year, but the cracks were starting to show. Over the next few seasons, Spurs lost some of their key players, such as Kyle Walker leaving to Manchester City, Moussa Dembele leaving for China, and eventually losing key man Jan Vertonghen, who was the heart of the defence, along with Toby Alderweireld. And I'll be completely honest, they replaced these players with absolute dross. The players they replaced them with awful. We're talking Clinton and G, Vincent Janssen, if you remember him as well, Matt Doherty, who they spent £16 million on from Wolves. They let him go for free to Atletico Madrid. Moussa Sissoko, they spent £30 million on from Newcastle and also let him go for cheap. But even with this lack of investment and lack of investment in good players in the squad, Mauricio Pochettino was working wonders with them and actually got them to the Champions League final in 2019. Where, if we're being honest, they got absolutely battered by Liverpool. Pochettino was a fan's favourite, working with pretty much a shoestring budget. For one of the sides that was meant to be competing in the top 6 for the Champions League each year, Tottenham Hotspur was spending a significantly lower amount of money than other Big Six teams. This was all down to Daniel Levy. After he took over in 2000, he's been very reluctant in spending his money. But at this point, things are still going well for Tottenham. They're in the Champions League final. They're looking good each year. Yes, the players that they've got are not good, but the style of football's still good, and Pochettino's still at the helm. He's a fan's favourite. Well, let's fast forward to November 2019. Pochettino's tenure at Tottenham comes to an abrupt end when he was sacked following his poor start to the season. And in the summer that Pochettino was sacked, they sold Christian Eriksen, Kieran Trippier, and brought in 3 duds in Tanguy Ndombele, Bergwijn, and Sessegnon. Pochettino's sacking was a shock to the footballing world, as it felt like he was a bit underappreciated at Tottenham. But Daniel Levy made a massive gamble and brought in Jose Mourinho instantly to replace Mauricio Pochettino. Now, Mourinho is probably one of the best football managers there has ever been, but his style of play compared to Mauricio Pochettino's could not be more opposite. Mourinho is very pragmatic in his football, where Pochettino was more free-flowing, and this drastic change in style saw Tottenham finish outside of the top 4 for the first time in 5 seasons. And during this season, players like Dele Alli were on a crazy decline. That's probably another video in itself. Anyway, Mourinho had a tough start to life at Spurs, with pundits calling him out black and blue, and also the fans criticising their style of play. That summer saw Tottenham spend over £100 million with getting Giovanni Lo Celso, Sergio Reguilon, Matt Doherty and Højbjerg, also adding Gareth Bale on loan and Joe Rodon from Swansea. Mourinho's tenure was famously put on Amazon as well, and it saw him clash with key players all the time.
Where is Dele? I understood already that you are a fucking lazy guy in training. I don't need more days. Lazy.
The football was pretty dire, and eventually Jose was sacked, even though he guided them to a Carabao Cup final in 2021. Since then, Mourinho has gone to Roma and won a European Cup, while Tottenham have further declined. After parting ways with Mourinho, Tottenham turned to Nuno Espirito Santo, and well, that didn't last long. Nuno was sacked after 17 games in charge, and Tottenham turned to Premier League winner Antonio Conte. Conte is one of the best managers in the world. He's won the Premier League before. It seemed an absolute no-brainer. However, Conte had many disagreements with Daniel Levy, even coming out and saying this.
They don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Yeah, it's easy in this way. And Tottenham's story is this. 20 years that there is the owner and never won something. But why?
And to be honest, it was clear Conte wasn't happy from probably the first season he was in charge. He even begged to be sacked at one point. Anyway, he had too many disagreements with owner Daniel Levy and also did not agree with the club's long-term visions, which led to him having a very premature end to his tenure, leaving the fans disheartened and angry at Daniel Levy. Now, what went wrong with Tottenham? Well, to be honest, it's Daniel Levy. All of it is Daniel Levy. While Pochettino was building a promising team on the pitch, Daniel Levy was off making some controversial decisions off the pitch. Levy oversaw Tottenham move stadiums from White Hart Lane all the way to the London Stadium. This cost over £1 billion and put a huge financial strain on the club. And this led to Levy refusing to spend big money on players. In the 2018-19 season, Spurs signed 0 players. After losing the final of a Champions League, you are still a big club and you can pretty much take anyone you want. You have a chance to rebuild and build a super team. Instead, you buy 0 players. This is one of the reasons Pochettino got frustrated and ended up getting sacked. Daniel Levy's also been criticised for the way he handles transfer negotiations, with the club failing to land several high-profile targets over the years. The most famous case being Willian, who actually went over to travel to London to see Spurs' training ground. But when Chelsea bid a little bit more money for him, Willian went over to Chelsea. And this obviously led to a big sense of frustration from the fan base and also the players and the managers, who all felt that the club wasn't being ambitious enough. With Tottenham Hotspur, we should be challenging for the top 6, if not Premier League. Here we are at current day, Tottenham 6th in the Premier League, and to be honest, probably look likely to finish 7th or 8th. Potentially no European football. They look set to lose star man Harry Kane, who's been forcing a move out for years. They've lost 6-1 to Newcastle, 4-1 to Leicester, and 4-3 to Liverpool. The fans actively boo players like Davinson Sanchez. And to be brutally honest, most of the players in this Tottenham squad don't get into many Premier League teams. And for me personally, there's only one man to blame, and that is Daniel Levy. What are your thoughts on Daniel Levy and Tottenham Hotspur? Drop them down in the comments below. Also, if you did enjoy today's video, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. It also helps push the YouTube algorithm out. I recently lost my TikTok as well, so I kind of need the money, so please help me. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you all lads on the next one. Peace.